Trail runners, welcome back to Chasing Gold, where we are chatting with some of the best trail runners from across the globe. They are descending onto Black Canyon for the 100K in hopes of securing one of those 3 golden tickets to Western States. Today, we welcome Jackson Brill. Jackson is young in this sport, but he has accumulated some major wins. Jackson is running with Dynafit, and in his short career, he has major wins at Run the Rut, multiple wins at the Quad Rock in Fort Collins, and most recently, Golden Gate Dirty 30. Welcome to the show, Jackson.
Yeah, I appreciate all the accomplishments from 2018, making me feel old at this point.
You're not old at all. Let's talk about, you are a young athlete. I remember when I first heard the name, it was after that Run the Rut win. But besides that, those Quad Rock wins, for those viewers that aren't familiar, I mean, that draws a very, very fast field with golden ticket winners that, and you've won that race multiple times. Talk to us about how you got your start so young and how, just the success you've had.
Yeah, so I moved to Colorado immediately after high school, started attending CU Boulder in Surprise, Boulder, Colorado. And just started doing the whole trail running thing. I grew up doing a lot of backpacking with my dad. So we had actually backpacked the Colorado Trail when I was in middle school. So I think, when you combine high school cross-country running with, long distance backpacking, if you meet in the middle, that's, trail ultra running. So the best of both worlds. So that's kind of how I got into it and did my first 50K. The first, I think, 5 or 6 weeks after I started my freshman year and never looked back.
Awesome. Yeah, I have at 18, you got 4th place at the Broken Arrow Sky Race. That is a very competitive field as well.
It is now a competitive field. I think 4th that year would probably be worth 40th or something. So they've done a great job at that race in the last couple of years.
That is just how the sport has gone, right? I mean, we've seen this sport just explode in the past 5-7 years. In the speed that is now here, it's remarkable. It's great to be a part of.
For sure.
So talk to us about the training and the build-up for Black Canyon. How are things going?
Things are going okay. I've had a couple really good long runs, and I've had a lot of zeros on the calendar, but I think it's a good thing because psychologically, I'm putting this out there, right? Oh, you don't need to be worried about me. My training hasn't gone great. So psychologically, I'm in everyone's head now. They're not expecting me. I'm not expecting me. So I don't have any pressure. So I think, I've got everyone in a mental pretzel, myself included. So now, there's nothing to do but surprise and actually do really well.
Nice. And how is the training go? What does a typical week look like for you when you're training?
So it varies a lot, but I've been trying to get a couple track workouts in, just using the winter where the trails aren't in quite as good of shape to get some flatter speed back, and then just trying to squeeze long runs in on the weekend. So last weekend I did a 30 miler on Sunday and then a 20 miler on Monday. So that was my big block in terms of, long stuff. And then, just been trying to chase some people faster than me on the track a couple other times during the week.
Perfect. And what will the strategy be on race day? You're just going to go out, run your own event? You're not going to try to keep up with anyone?
Yeah, I generally seem to race best moving through a field. So I will probably expect myself to be further back and then hopefully finish a little further up. It's my first 100K as well, so I think I will only go out too hard. I think there is zero chance that I'll get to the finish line and be like, should have gone out a little faster. So
Sure.
just going to try to blow up less than maybe others or maybe my natural state would be.
And what do you know about the course? Have you been out here before?
I haven't been on the Black Canyon course, but I've actually done 2 backpacking trips on the Arizona Trail with my dad. He was the one who kind of got me into backpacking when I was younger, and we've been able to go on a couple hikes, multi-day backpacking trips since then, including one this last winter that was through the Superstition wilderness, which is,
Nice.
kind of parallel. The Arizona Trail is parallel to the Black Canyon Trail, just on the other side of, I think, I-17. So not quite, it'll be new terrain for me, but familiar territory.
Got it. Yeah, it is a fast course. There aren't too many hills. Speaking of hills, I know that you have done some research on when to hike, when to run. For those that don't know, Jackson has done his research papers through university on this. Fascinating stuff, and I encourage everyone to go over. You can listen to his talk with Mr. Jason Coop on the Coopcast on when to walk, when to run. And personally, big shout out to Mr. Jason Coop. We appreciate the heck out of you as well and everything you've done for the sport. What did you learn from those when to hike, when to run research papers?
I honestly didn't learn a lot that has much practical application. It's one of those things where research is often disconnected from what athletes can necessarily take away. So I think specifically on my research, I learned kind of some esoteric stuff about how the human body locomotes, how we walk, how we run. So I know a lot about something very little, but probably just the big takeaway is that it is very complicated trying to figure out when to do one or the other. So as a consequence of it being complicated, just do what you want, just do what feels good. That's the default answer when we don't know any better. So that's the fancy way of me saying I don't know any better. I got a master's degree, don't really know anything to help me run, but hey, it was a lot of fun.
Nice. I recently chatted with one of your research participants, Mr. Eric LaPuma, and he had mentioned a story where you had to do some shaving of him. Do you remember this?
So we have to keep subject anonymity. So I can't admit that Eric LaPuma was a member of the study, but I plead the fifth. If Eric was saying it, I cannot confirm nor deny whether he was a subject. But getting back to the shaving, I also cannot confirm or deny that I actually had to shave his butt. There was a study where this was my first study in the lab. So this was when I was a junior in undergrad, and we were sticking electrical sensors onto different muscles, including the gluteus maximus, which if you don't know, that's, big old butt muscle. And the electrodes that we would stick on wouldn't pick up a good signal unless it was like it needed to be clearly on the skin. So we actually had a whole routine where we shaved the hair off, then we used an exfoliator and rubbed it off to get like this first layer of dead skin cells off, and then we would stick it on. So again, I cannot confirm or deny whether I have shaved and exfoliated a small portion of Mr. LaPuma's right butt cheek.
Perfect. We'll have to ask him when we're all on the track together.
We'll do that.
All right. What about the heat down here? Are you doing any heat training? You getting in the sauna at all?
I've been putting my shower on like really hot. My skin's actually getting dry. I should probably get some lotion. But besides, scalding myself every time I get in the shower, no heat training.
Perfect. Let's talk about fueling and hydration. What is the plan? Do you have this dialed in pretty well that you're using the same products from race to race, or are you kind of just grabbing whatever looks good on the aid table?
Yeah, so I haven't ran this far before, and I've heard that, after a certain distance, your body just is sick of all those gels and goos and whatnot. So my tentative plan is to do what I've always done, which is kind of just gels and some drink mix and maybe a little bit of water, maybe a little bit of Coke, but also am prepared to call an audible if I get to mile 40 and my body's like, no more gels every 20 minutes, please. And at that point, that's maybe what I'm looking forward to, because then I can just eat Oreos and
Yeah.
gummy worms and like the actual fun stuff versus the manufactured plastic grossness of gels. So yeah, we'll see if my stomach turns. It's, I guess, pros and cons if it does or doesn't.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. And what will you be wearing? Do you wear a band? Do you do two handhelds? Do you have a vest? What kind of gear are you putting on?
So I'll put my science hat back on. Well, we can take it off, put it back on. Uh, so handhelds actually, there's some research that they're maybe less effective, at least in terms of some cardiorespiratory parameters, because you're carrying a large weight farther from your center of mass versus if you're carrying those liquids, the heavy water and stuff closer to your center of mass. So either on your hips if you're wearing a belt, or closer on your pecs if you're wearing a backpack type thing. It actually is going to put less muscular strain, versus holding this weight basically in your arms, and ends up lowering cardiovascular stress a little bit because of that. So I'm anti handheld. If there's any company that solely does handhelds, I cannot. Even if you paid me all of King Midas's silver, I couldn't accept. So I'll be going with either a belt or a vest.
Perfect. I think you might be swaying some of our viewers late in their training to maybe switch off from those handhelds. I feel like a lot of using them, but yeah, reduced running economy. Or I'm with you. I got the band. I'm gonna wear one or two bottles in the band, but yeah, I'm not on the handhelds either.
I'll allow you to do that.
Thank you. And on those big races we have some big names coming to this event. And I know you've beaten big names before and you've raced with them. Any nervousness, anything like that going on, standing on the track, looking around you?
I think kind of like I said with the mental pretzel stuff earlier in the conversation, I don't really feel much expectations right now. It's my first 100K. I want to get through it in one piece. I want to be smiling when I get to the finish line. Ideally, I still run pretty fast, but no, I'm not super concerned with the others. Although, I'm sure I will check ultra sign up somewhere between 3 and 17 times between now and race day. So take everything I said with a grain of salt.
Perfect. And how do you break up the race? Do you have a mental approach, breaking up the race into sections, using a mantra, at different points of the race that is pre-rehearsed, that is going to help you hit those process goals?
So I've always been like a 1/3 guy, no matter the distance. And I came up with this even in high school cross country, where, you could easily, 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile. And I found that continues to work even up to the longer stuff, where I kind of want to feel good the first third. I want to feel okay the second third. And then that allows me to feel pretty awful the third third. But by feeling awful, I mean like running annoyingly fast. So yeah, I've kind of used that thirds approach at every distance I've done. So fortunately, the 100K distance, every 20 miles, it kind of easily chunks that way. So yeah, I will anticipate thinking about things in 20-mile increments.
Perfect. With that said, we are entering the 10-question fast-paced Fartlek round. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
What sneakers will you be wearing on race day?
Dynafit Ultra hundreds. They are awesome.
Perfect. All right. You get yourself a golden ticket. Who do you want to be handing that off to? Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp, because I am borderline Generation Z and don't really know who Gene Wilder is.
Ooh. If this interview series has taught me one thing, it's that I am old. Not many folks were going with Gene Wilder. I think we just had one.
You've got a little gray in your beard, so
yeah, I think it's white.
It's on brand.
Yeah, it is for sure. All right, how about Grocery store guilty pleasure. Besides those Oreos, what else are you putting in that grocery cart that we should know about?
Ooh, I feel like I've been on like there's like these chocolatey protein bar things. So they're not like, I don't buy them as a guilty pleasure. It's more of like, oh, if I'm at a trailhead and it's a long drive home, it's a snack to munch on the car. But man, they're all chocolatey, and there's been a few times where I've had two or three at home, for no other reason than it's like, damn, this is like a Snicker on steroids. So kind of like not the prototypical answer, but that's kind of been what's been happening recently.
All right. It's February 12th. The time is set for you to walk onto the track. You get to choose the song you are walking out to on race day. What's it going to be?
Ooh, I have been listening to Motorhead's Ace of Spades live on Jimmy Fallon the last couple days, like at least once a day. So the answer, will change every couple days, but right now, Motorhead, baby.
All right. I don't know if I can get that one on the playlist. It might scare some of the participants, but we'll see what we can do.
I played it for a fifth grade class I substituted the other day. They have a cleanup song that's Bruno Mars, and I was like, no, I'm not playing Bruno Mars. So I played Ace of Spades by Motorhead instead, and I think I don't know if I'll be invited back to that school anymore.
Yeah, you probably got some phone calls from some parents. All right, how do you drink your coffee?
I'm not a coffee guy. I'm this wired with no caffeine. So if I became like a habitual coffee user, it'd probably be like being a cocaine guy. So I try to steer clear.
What are you drinking in the morning then?
I'll take like a 200 milligram caffeine tablet. So I will get my caffeine in on race morning. Well, I usually do that for more shorter races. I'll have some Coca-Cola in the second half of the race for the caffeine, but probably just water.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any race day superstitions?
I have to go poo 3 times. If I go twice, I'm worried. If I go twice, it's not good. And if I go 4 times, it's too much. So
you got this dialed in.
100% serious. Like it's 3 poos when I have a good day.
Good to know. We'll keep our eyes on those porta potties. Make sure that we're getting in there 3 times.
I mean, I might try to get 1 done at the Airbnb, or ideally if I get 2 done at the Airbnb before the start, that's the best because, multiple trips to the porta potty and race morning is a bummer. So good to take care of a couple beforehand.
All right. You started this interview with shades, but I got to ask, we're in the desert. It's sunny. Race day. Shades or no shades?
I mean, it just depends what the vibes are, Like this is a vibe, but
that is a
vibe. The vibe? We'll figure it out.
All right, fair enough. Race day breakfast, what are you going with?
Probably whatever looks good at the grocery store the night before. Sometimes it's been Pop-Tarts. Let's go with Pop-Tarts and bananas.
Pop-Tarts and bananas it is. Favorite local trail run in your state?
In my state, we'll go with Cervidae Peak, which is 25 or 30 minutes outside of town here in Boise. And there's a route up it that does 1,800 feet of vert in 1 mile.
Ooh.
So it's steep and it isn't very technical. So you can just yeet down it with like it. Oh man, it's so fun. And I Everested on it kind of right when COVID started. So I've got some Stockholm syndrome with regards to it where even if I didn't want to like it, I'm emotionally invested at this point.
You don't get that kind of steep without technicality often. That sounds like a trail I got to get to. It sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll do it when you come through town.
Perfect. Last question. The dust has settled on February 12th. The race is over. What place have you finished the Black Canyon 100K in?
69th.
You heard it here first. Jackson will be 69th at the Black Canyon 100K. Chasing gold, baby. Jackson, thank you for coming on. We will see you at the start line.